You know when you're a kid and you watch Indiana Jones and you see Indy enter like a cool ancient city and you wonder, oh, what would that city have been like back in its heyday? Well, in Renegade Games' Passing Through Petra, you get to experience moving cubes and circles around, but it's a good game. Let me show you how it plays. Passing Through Petra is a tile manipulation game set in the Petra region of Jordan. Players utilize various merchant tiles to move along 5 different colored tracks to be the first person to remove all 9 influence cubes off their player board. Players will start with those 9 cubes, 4 merchants on top of their board, and a row of 6 merchants along the bottom. They also have 5 markers, an influence card, some camel tokens, and their player reference card. Players perform one of 4 actions per turn by moving their pawn towards the plaza, the market, the village, or the Sikh. If a player moves their marker towards the plaza, they grab 2 tiles from the front exposed region of the lineup labeled plaza. They then push those tiles into the market row from the left. This will cause tiles to be pushed off from the right, which will then get added to the top. If a player moves toward the Sikh, they may grab a single tile from the area of the mountain pass beyond the plaza, which will cause a single tile to slide over and move up to the top of their board as well. If a player moves towards the market, they activate 1 color of merchant on the top of their board by placing a marker there and removing them. They multiply the number of tiles of that color by the number of tiles they can trade with, in this case blue, and the wild gold tile. They'll move that number of steps on the corresponding track. When they get to the arrow, they receive a benefit and flip their disc showing it can deliver a cube. If movement allows them to reach an area with an open space, they deliver a cube and flip their tile back over. The green track behaves differently. If they move onto or past a space with a camel, they grab a camel token, which can be spent to move 1 space further on any track. And if they move onto or past a space with an influence card, they grab an influence card from the lineup. When the conditions of the card have been met, in this case having equal number of cubes on brown and purple, players can put an influence cube onto that influence card. If a player moves towards the village, they remove all their markers from all activated colors. If they've removed at least 1, 2, or 3 markers, they may receive that special ability card in that spot. The upgrades of the game allow players to extend their market row, to receive a permanent merchant on top of their board of a single color that doesn't get removed, to receive a building in hopes to receive more camels when merchants move onto that color, or to receive a gold trader who in the market row can trade with any color. After a player has gotten rid of all 9 of their cubes, the game ends immediately. So like I said, you're not really feeling that hustle and bustle of a trade city, but you are getting a very interesting and unique experience, a very unique puzzle that I've never quite worked with before. I'm going to talk about my few criticisms of the game, and then I'm going to talk about the things that I really find good and interesting and fairly unique about this game. First thing is just the production. This game is almost beautiful, but you have a board that looks like this, that mostly just looks like sand. And I hate sand. It's rough, it's coarse, it gets everywhere. But outside of the Star Wars reference, it's just not that eye-catching. But you do have pieces like this, which make it 3D, make it pop up. You have that little cardboard standee, that's the Petra, the city background. These mountain ranges are supposed to look good, but ever since my wife said they look like burnt cheese Toblerone, I can't unsee that. And so that's just stuck in my head. I will say though that these are very good. They keep that row of tiles very smooth and so they're not sliding all over the place. And so they did a lot of things production-wise that were smart and worked well with the game. It's just not beautiful. I do like having a gigantic row of those merchants. I mean, I play a lot of card games that have that card river idea. You take the front card, everything slides down, and then it refills. This is like that with like 20-something tokens. You could never do that with cards. It would be so annoying. Someone takes the front one, slide them all down. The last complaint that I have is that one of the actions you take is to pull your workers off and you grab one of those action cards. And I feel like that's definitely the weakest action of the game, and you always feel like it's a bummer when you take that action. There's a few of those cards that seem really cool, but they're very situational, and so I wish that there were a way to make that action a little bit stronger. Maybe if you took off a number of workers, you could grab one of those cards, or you could get like a fixed number of camel tokens or something to move further. I'm just spitballing here because I'm not a game developer and I'm not the game designer, but it just, in terms of the feel of the game, that action very clearly feels weakest. But that being said, everything else about this game I find to be very solid. That 3x3 action grid it's very unique. I don't think I've ever seen something quite like that in a game, and it's a little confusing at first. You move a direction, but you take the action of that direction that you're moving in. And once you explain that, once you get that, it's so simple. And so you can max take an action twice in a row. You can take it max twice before you have to take the action of the opposite direction, and that adds a lot of good tension. It means the first few times you play, you're gonna feel stuck. You're gonna feel trapped in a corner, literally, as you want to take the down action and the right action, but you're stuck in the bottom right corner, and so you need to then take the opposite actions, drawing tiles and drawing a tile from the plaza, draw a tile from the seek, and it's going to change your perfect row of merchants that you have, and it's really going to hurt. But I think that's good. I think that this game is going to reward players who play it a lot of times, and I think it's going to really reveal itself and reveal how much fun it is once you've stuck through and played it like 3 or 4 times, because that puzzle is so unique and so hard to grasp at first, but then very rewarding once you get it down. You have a good combination of merchants on the top with the merchants in your middle, and so you take that trade action, and then you want to try and line up that whatever these merchants are that you push out and put on top will work with the new merchant tiles that you put in. And so is that going to work with your influence cards? Because if you can make it line up, you put cubes out, and the influence cards let you put more cubes out for having the right combination of cubes out. It is a puzzle every direction that you look at it. Now, the weird thing about this, I think this is what it took me a few games to appreciate, is that this is not an engine building game. Engine builders, you start off small and you get some good growth, and that growth allows you to get more growth, which allows you to get more growth, and you get this exponential curve. This is not an exponential graph. It is more of a wave sine, sine wave or something, where you get a really great turn and then you wipe those tiles off of the top. And now you have to kind of wait until you get another great turn, and so that means you have to strategize very well. Don't get your action selection pawn stuck in a corner when you need it to be on the other side, or when you need it to be in the middle so you can take any action. It's hard. It's a difficult game to grasp at first. It's not easy to grasp from the rulebook, but there's so many resources out there to learn, and you kind of see the game taking place. Once you get it, the game is smooth. And we've played it with 3 players and played it in like 40 minutes because everyone takes a turn, done. The next person says, oh great, me, I finally get to do this thing. Whew, it's good feeling, it's great. This designer, J. Alex Kevern, is a great designer, and I think that he's a little bit underappreciated. Some of his games, which I find to be absolute treasures, like World's Fair 1893 and Gold West, they're just not the highest rated hotness games out there, and I think that they should be. This combo, I think, is one that you should check out. It is very possibly in a year or two going to be on a lot of people's like hidden gems list, like, oh, games from 2018, 2019 that people kind of forgot were actually good. So I think that you should go check it out. It's solid, it's fun, and it is unique to a degree that I can't even just really convey very clearly. So for that reason, I give it a recommendation. You should try it, you should play it. So anyway, my name is Chris from Meeple Overboard. You can go check out our podcast and the rest of our YouTube channel. Support us on patreon.com/meeple if you'd like to see more things like this. My name is Chris. Have a great one.